right, and welcome back to the forecast card. Unfortunately, about a juice lost day yesterday. Let's go through the games. Boston University, they end up only winning this game by two. It's just another one of those games where the road team, who typically shoots the three much worse than the home team, shoots the three basically lights out all game. If they make one fewer three, we cover. Um, yeah, Boston University shot like 20% from three. Meanwhile, Central Michigan shoots borderline 50% from three. Um, yeah, it is what it is. Uh, that game sucked. Samford, oh my god, man. That was my lock of the day yesterday. Somehow, I wasn't even watching the game. Didn't even realize it was on. And somehow they were down 21 at half. And they end up tying the game with like 5 minutes left. And then they implode. But they're so obviously the better team. Um, I really don't know what happened there. They just shot so terribly in the first half that deficit was just way too much to get out of. Um, but yeah, that was just a pathetic game. Um, so I genuinely believe Samford was the right side every like 9 times out of 10. That was just a anomaly first half. It's just insane to me, genuinely insane. SMU, pretty safe the entire game. Not much to say. UMKC, that wasn't even a model play. It wasn't even a personal play. That was just a spot play. Never again. That team fucking sucks. Yeah. Nope. Arkansas, uh, sketchy at times, but Auburn clearly was not shooting well that game, so kind of got a little bit lucky. Eastern Tennessee State, good bounce back game from them. They dominated all the second half. It looked a little tight though in the first. DePaul, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking of playing DePaul. That was like a fake sharp play. I just thought St. John's wouldn't come big time in that game, but they did, and they completely crushed DePaul in the second half. Oral Roberts, I'm not even sure. I stopped watching when they were down 10 with like 3 minutes left. Yeah, they ended up losing that game by 11. Uh, just a stupid play. Not a good bounce back. Cincinnati, very sweaty. Probably deserved to lose that game, if I'm being honest. They hit a three with like 4 seconds left, and then the other team turns it over on the inbound, so they don't even get free throws to cover. So, undeserved win for me there, since he did not look very good. And Boise, sweaty in the first half, but they kind of ran away with it in the second with a pretty dominant performance. So, 5-5 on the day. My old model, if you know who I am from 2023, you know I had a really good run in 2023 college basketball year. And that was with arguably a much simpler model than I have now. Didn't use any kind of language model or regression model. It was very standard, and it performed really well yesterday. Bringing it back, it went 6-1 on the day yesterday. There's only one game that I like today. You'll see that in the other bet section. But I'm going to start probably sharing all of those bets every single day as well. Though I'm not giving up on this model yet that I have, because I feel like the potential is there. I genuinely feel like I'm getting unlucky. So maybe it's copium because of how many hours I put into it. But yeah, you can always see the other models' plays at the end of the videos. Heading out to for the first game, we have Monmouth heading on the road to play Hofstra. I just don't think Hofstra is 7.5 points better than Monmouth. On paper, they have been a better team, but Monmouth is going to get to the line a ton this game against a Hofstra team that fouls all the time. Monmouth is a team that offensively isn't really that good, but they could shoot a three, and that's the one thing that Hofstra cannot defend. So I think between threes and getting to the free throw line, getting a few points off turnovers, and the way they've been playing lately, I think they keep this game within 7.5. Hofstra, despite having an incredible start of the season, has looked terrible, especially defensively, where that's supposed to be where they're, the best. But they just haven't looked good. So I don't know how they're getting 7.5 points here. I know they're at home, arguably a bit of a bounce back spot. But model has this game, Hofstra winning by 3.5. I kind of agree with that number based off how these two teams have been performing. Hofstra has played really bad at home. If you look at their last 5 rating, they've dropped to 345. Meanwhile, this Monmouth team has technically been playing better than them. And it's not like Hofstra have been playing some elite teams. Like, they've played Stony Brook, William and Mary, and Hampton in their last 3 games. Meanwhile, Monmouth, despite being playing really well, has played Towson twice. Obviously, they got crushed. Towson's like the best team in the conference. But they beat Drexel, they beat Delaware, they beat Hampton. These are much better teams than the 3 teams that Hofstra just lost to. So this line doesn't make sense to me. I think Monmouth keeps this game close. All right, the worst game of the day is a game I have a bet on. If you see these type of games, you know this is a model day, not a me day. I just think Central Arkansas has looked so freaking bad. In West Georgia, despite being relatively new to, I guess, the ranked world of being in, an officially D1 team, they're really not that bad, and they do play much better at home than they play on the road. These 2 teams already played, and West Georgia actually lost this game to Central Arkansas by 5. But I do think they've been playing better. They beat I know Bellarmine's not on paper that good of a team, but Bellarmine's not a bad team by any stretch. And I do think they get the bounce back here. They just had a rough road trip going 1-2, head back home. Central Arkansas continuing a pretty long road trip after a pretty bad loss to Queens. I think West Georgia gets to them this game. Revenge spots in these little leagues don't really exist too much, but UWG has played a much harder schedule. They're one of the most consistent teams in college basketball. And, they are really good on the offensive glass. They're going to get a lot of points off turnovers. I just think this is a get-right spot for West Georgia. Obviously, these are 2 teams that are, bottom 25 in the league, so you never know what you're going to get, but they still have passion in their basketball. And I think in front of their home crowd here, they're going to win this game by at least 5. All right, game number 3, we have Weber State versus Sacramento State. On paper, I just think Weber State is just the much better team on both sides of the ball. Sacramento State has not impressed me at all. They're not top 300 in a single stat. And Weber, again, they're obviously not a great team either, but they're going to get to line a lot at home. They're going to get the home whistle. I feel like this number is a little bit too low for how shitty both these teams are. Sure, Sacramento State has played really well on the road this year, but I don't buy it. I think this is going to be a decent win for Weber State, who I think is just a much better team. I have Weber winning this game by 9.5. I think they win this game by double digits. You never really know what you're going to get with Sacramento State, but you're getting them on a road spot here. They're coming off some pretty nasty losses at home. Weber State is coming off some nasty losses on the road, going back home. So I think this is a one team going on the road after playing really poorly, and another team heading back home where they play better. Plus, these 2 teams already played. Weber State only won by 6. Now we're getting them at home in a bounce back spot. As home favorites, they are 0-4 against the spread, and that does concern me a little bit. But this is a 500-mile travel spot for a bad team. They probably have to take a bus. I think this is going to be they're going to be exhausted here after the pathetic home trip. And Weber, again, is just a better team. They have a top 100 home advantage in college basketball. I think this is their first home cover. So give me Weber State to cover this game at home. All right, heading on to game number 4. This is just, in my opinion, a classic fade. Sam Houston on the road spot. They're 2-8 against the spread on the road. Western Kentucky 4-2 against the spread at home. And I think they're just straight up the better team in the Conference USA. Sam Houston probably will get to the lineup at this game. That's probably where they're going to have to find their points. But they're a team that likes to shoot threes from all their percentage of shots. They shoot about 37% of threes. And that's typically where they do find a lot of success. At home, on the road, they're not going to find any success, especially against a Western Kentucky team that defends the 3 really well. They're the 32nd best three-point defense in college basketball. And Sam Houston just does not shoot the 3 nearly as well at home. They're going to have to adjust their plan. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky, I think they're going to find success pretty much everywhere. They already beat Sam Houston by 9 on the road. Going home where they play better. and they're coming off a really rough 3-game loss streak here. Meanwhile, Sam Houston's coming off 2 massive wins at home. Now they're heading on the road, where they're traveling a pretty big distance, over 600 miles, to play Western Kentucky, where they've lost their last 4 games, where they've had to travel over 600 miles, all of which they lost by 12, 11, 6, and 4. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky has won their last 4 games at home, pretty much all in dominant fashion, winning by 16, 4, 31, and 10. I think Western Kentucky has their number here. I don't think this is a spot where Sam Houston's going to find success in the revenge spot. So give me Western Kentucky at home to cover this short home favorite number. All right, and my favorite game of the day, we have Santa Clara versus Loyola Marymount. Now, on paper, these teams previously really weren't that far apart. And Santa Clara has been playing completely lights out recently. They've been one of the better teams in college basketball, and they do play really well at home with a top 100 home advantage in college basketball. Meanwhile, Loyola, they're a team that plays much worse on the road, and they really do struggle against better competition. They typically only beat up on mid-major, mediocre schools. They're coming off 2 losses to some really bad teams, Pacific and Portland. I'm not really sure what's going on with them, but they're definitely in a rut. Meanwhile, Santa Clara has had some dominant wins over these bad teams, so I think they are a bit more locked in. They're coming off 2 frustrating losses to one of the better teams in college basketball in St. Mary's, and then Oregon State. But this is still a Santa Clara team that came up and beat Gonzaga in their home court. Like, they are a really good team. They beat San Francisco by 23 points. This is a really good Santa Clara team. Now we're getting them off a loss at home. Meanwhile, Loyola is coming off a loss on the road, continuing this road trip. On paper, they're not really that far from home, only 300 miles. But this is a team that lost to San Francisco by 15. Meanwhile, Santa Clara beat them by 22. I just think Santa Clara is the way better team here, and we're getting them off some really great momentum. They're a really good defensive team. They're going to find a lot of success here on the offensive glass, and they're going to lock up Loyola pretty much everywhere where they want to find success. Loyola's only shot they're going to be able to take is the mid-range, in my opinion, and I don't think that's going to fall. So give me Santa Clara to win this game by 20 points. All right, now the last 3 games that I like for tomorrow is going to be Marshall. This is the game that the old model likes the most. It's the only game that the model actually likes in general. I think this is just a really tough matchup for this Old Dominion team. I don't think they're going to be able to deal with Obina, who's just way too big. And that's kind of where this Old Dominion team typically likes to score. They don't shoot the 3 well, so if they can't score in the paint and they can't score from 3, Marshall, who's been one of the better ATS teams lately, I think we're getting them on a good spot. Yes, it's on the road, but this is an Old Dominion team that I think has been playing a little bit too well, and they're going to really struggle here to score against this big boy in the paint. So give us Marshall. In the other 2 games, these are strictly model plays. St. Francis, model has them winning by 1 outright. Usually I'm kind of weary about these kind of spots, especially when the line has moved, but I don't see any injuries, so I don't really know what's going on. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing that's not announced yet. So if there's a last minute injury, just keep that in mind. But as far as I know, I don't see anything. So this line's a little sus, but I'm going to take it because it is what it is. Southern Miss have them winning by 8. We're getting them in a revenge spot. They play really good at home. Coastal has been on a downward spiral in the Sun Belt. I think Southern Miss is the better team that's played better teams. They're playing really well. They have the 2nd highest consistency right now, the best consistency score in college basketball. And they play incredibly well at home. And they play extremely fast-paced against a Coastal team that likes to play it slow. I think that's gonna force a lot of turnovers from Coastal. They're gonna get a ton of points off steals. Meanwhile, Coastal's gonna struggle to score pretty much everywhere. So yeah, give me Southern Miss to win this game by 10. And that is it. Those are the 8 games that I'm betting in college basketball. If there are any additional bets moving forward, the pin comment thing is not working very well, so just check my Discord. I'm not going to add them to the record on YouTube anymore because I don't think it's clear to anyone who might only be watching YouTube. I don't think it's fair either. So only these videos these picks you see in the video will be reflected in the record on the first page. And moving forward, any additional bets, I will mark them, but I won't add them to the official account, just so people can see what I've been betting. So yeah, that's everything. See you guys tomorrow.